hello. Evidently, I am now live. Yay. So it is 2:02 p.m. So I'm going to get going. We have a viewer. Yay. Please, when you are viewing, just put a hello in the comments so that I know who's there. Because otherwise, it doesn't tell me who's there. It just says I have one viewer or more. So please comment because I like to know who's here. And sometimes I have to comment myself before anybody else's will show up, which is kind of silly. Lynn, hey, how are you? So good to see you. Kelly, how are you? Yay. Actually, there are 4 people here. Anyone else popping up? Yes, Cindy, hi. Hope Elena's there too. Hi, Elena. So good to see people, yay. So this is Writer Unedited, which means it's just me sitting here at my writing desk. This is my writing desk over there, chatting with you. I do have a few things to share, but basically there's no script. I'm just talking as usual. So since we have people here, I'm going to go ahead and start talking. So the big reveal, right? Oh, one thing I wanted to say is that if you miss a Writer Unedited Live, I do save them to my YouTube channel, just in case somebody wants to see them. And I will put a link to the YouTube channel in the comments below this. Kelly says, I love, love, love The Money Man, Agent, Hacker. Yay, Kelly! I love those too. Fun books. I enjoyed the suspense aspect of them, especially because that's a bit of a new challenge for me. And of course, I've incorporated suspense into my Royal Caleva books too. So clearly I enjoyed it. So the big reveal today is who's going to be the next hero in my Royal Caleva series, because we had Royal Caleva Gabrielle is the first book in the series. And my newsletter subscribers, I polled them to see who they thought the next person was going to be, and they pretty overwhelmingly voted for Raoul, who is, of course, the prince. I don't know what my cats are doing. Hold on 2 seconds. Kittens, are you all right? I'm hearing a lot of complaining out there. My cats have gotten very vocal all of a sudden, and they have very piercing voices. And generally, all they want is attention, but sometimes they're having a little squabble, so sometimes I have to go referee a bit. But, okay. Back to Royal Caleva. So my newsletter subscribers pretty overwhelmingly voted for Raoul to be next. He is, of course, the prince, the son of King Louis. He is Gabrielle's cousin, and they really grew up like brothers and think of each other as brothers. So I wasn't surprised that that was the choice in my poll, but they were wrong, because Raoul is not the next hero of my stories. It is, drum roll, King Louis. Yes, I'm going to write a king. In fact, I'm already writing a king, and I have to tell you, it's a really interesting challenge to try and get into the psyche of someone who is the head of a country and who has essentially been groomed for that job from birth and known that's what he was going to do all his life, and is, as it turns out, quite good at it, and has been doing it for about 25 years. So, there's got to be a touch of arrogance there, because he has to make the tough decisions always. But we all know he's a really good guy. We know that he puts family first. He feels family is incredibly important. And that all ties into the book. And the reason it had to be Louis is because his story ties into Gabrielle's story. So there's a method to my madness. So let's see what people are saying here. I'm just going to read a few comments here because I like to see that. Kelly says she can't wait for she can't wait for the next ones because I adored your trilogy. Yay! CEO and an all-star. Right. Okay. So she said she broke her cherry on me with the CEO and the all-star. Interesting you say that. Stick around. I want to ask you something about that. Cindy says we're on the bus heading home from therapy. Elena is at the back reading one of your books. Ooh, how nice. Tell Elena hi. Ooh, Kelly says woot woot for the king, and Lynn says it's exciting. Yay. Sorry, getting warm here. So yes, so King Louis and his heroine, his name is Eve, and she lives in Iowa. And I can't tell you a whole lot more than that because it would be major spoilers. I'm going to have, it's going to be a real struggle to write the cover copy for this, trying to get you interested in the book without giving away the spoilers because there's a big reveal right at the beginning of the book. But you will find out in this book, because Eve lives in Iowa, why Odette Fontaine went to Iowa. So I promise that. I actually never leave loose ends deliberately. I knew that I was going to tell you that in this book. So that's why it was not revealed in Gabrielle's story. So let's see, what else was I going to say? Oh, so I always talk about an artifact, a book artifact as I call it. And so since I announced that I will be reading King Louis's book next, I wanted to show you what I think of as the original crown of Caleva. I got this from Amazon. I cannot wear it as a tiara because it's solid. Now I understand why crowns that people actually wear have all those linings, with like the ermine and the velvet and stuff, because you obviously really just put it on top of your head and they adjust the linings to fit you because crowns are stiff. So yeah, so this I don't wear, I use it as a prop. But the reason that it seemed right for Caleva's crown to me is because it's kind of, it has jewels in it, but it's a little rough. It's not sort of an elegant design. And because my vision of Caleva's history is that it was founded by pirates and deserters and people who were basically hiding from the authorities, particularly the Spanish authorities, that they would have had the wealth, like the gems, but they wouldn't necessarily have had someone who could do fine jewelry work like, say, the King of Spain would have had, in his court, because that wasn't really who was hanging out on Caleva. So when I saw this on Amazon, I just thought it was the right crown for Caleva, and I use it as a prop a lot. If you ever watch me doing an interview where I'm actually not unedited, where, I set up the whole scenario and everything, you'll often see this in the background, sitting on top of the books. But it just, and I take it to book signings. The one book signing that I've done recently, I took it as a prop. Again, put a bowl of chocolate inside it, right? So this is one of my many inspirations for Royal Caleva, and this is the crown that I picture King Louis wearing for his coronation and I guess for state affairs. But cool, right? Okay, so Kelly says, I think it's pretty cool. And Lynn says, beautiful crown, fits the story. Oh, I'm so glad you agree with me, Lynn. I think it fits the story too. And I do rather love it. And I like that it's rose gold because somehow that speaks of old and historic to me for some reason. Okay, so Royal Caleva, Louis, coming up next. So what else am I doing? I am editing, see all the scribbles and the red stuff, the bonus novella, what I call the bonus novella, which is a sequel to Royal Caleva Gabrielle, and it's called How to Plan a Royal Wedding. And it obviously focuses particularly on Quinn, who, is going to marry Gabrielle, and they are having a royal wedding. And you can imagine how excited Quinn is about that. She calls the people at the palace who are organizing it the protocol squad and does everything that she can to avoid them. So it was really fun to write. It just kind of flew off my fingers, which is always a nice feeling for a writer. And I'll be sending it to my copy editor in mid-August, because by that time I should have it completely revised. So this started out as a short story, but being me, I'm incapable of writing short. So it ended up as a kind of medium-length novella. And all of my newsletter subscribers will get it for free. So make sure you're signed up for my newsletter. You can do that by going to my website, nancyherkness.com. Every page has an orange box on the right-hand side where you can sign up for the newsletter. If you aren't sure if you've signed up, just sign up again, because my newsletter service sorts out duplicates and you won't get two unless you sign up with different email addresses, of course. And I'm thinking that this novella will go out in October, maybe September, October. Should be all polished up and formatted by then. I designed the cover myself, which was so much fun. I'll show that to you a little later when I'm completely finished. The one thing I will say is, do not read this before you've finished Royal Caleva Gabrielle, because there are spoilers in the novella, because it comes after the story, after the end of the book, and you don't want spoilers, right? It will be clearly marked that there are spoilers, but just want to warn you. But I think, as I said, I just had so much fun writing it. So, speaking of bonus material, oh, and also I'll put a link to signing up for a newsletter in the comments below this video as well, just in case, that's just easier, right? You can click on it and go sign up. And by the way, my newsletter subscribers found out that Luis was the next hero before I announced it here, because I always tell my newsletter subscribers things first. So, okay, on to another piece of bonus material that I have not written yet, but I want to write. I'd like to write something that sort of leads into Royal Caleva Gabrielle. And I got some great ideas about it from my newsletter subscribers. Oh dear, my frame rate is too low. I have no idea what it's, sorry, I'm getting an error message. I hope I'm still on. Am I still on? Is everybody seeing me? All right, I'm just putting another comment here. Kelly, you're so welcome for the free read, because I so appreciate my subscribers. I really do. I know that your inboxes are very full of stuff, and I am very grateful that you share your email address with me and allow me to come to your inbox every month. And occasionally, when I have a new book out, a little more than a month, once a month. Okay, so back to, oh good, Lynn sees me. Yay, I'm glad it's working. Okay, so back to this free bonus material that I want to develop for, again, my newsletter subscribers, but I want it to lead into Royal Caleva Gabrielle, because this one I just wrote is afterwards, as I mentioned. So I had some great ideas from my subscribers. They said, I'd like to see Quinn's job interview. I'd like to see, how Gabrielle is doing after the kidnapping. Although people said they didn't want too much of that because it was sad, and difficult and traumatic, which I understand. But then literally yesterday, I had this brainstorm that I thought, so many of my readers have found me through the Wager of Hearts series, like Kelly, right? Kelly, that's how you found me, through the Wager of Hearts series, which is the CEO buys in, the All-Star antes up, and the VIP doubles down. So I was thinking maybe I would have my Wager of Hearts billionaires and their wives, because it'll be, maybe we'll play with the timeline. Anyway, my billionaires go to Caleva to go to Dragon Fest, the big music festival that Gabrielle starts, and they could meet the royal family there. So we'd have the Wager of Hearts guys, who I miss because I really loved my Wager of Hearts billionaires, interacting with my royal family in Caleva. What do you think? Do you think that would be fun? I could maybe even get Dr. Ben Cavill. They could drag him along, because they think he needs a vacation, because as we all know, Dr. Ben works way too hard. He's a bit of a workaholic. And so many people have asked for his story, and I'm noodling around with that. Don't worry. That's in the back of my mind always. I'm always looking for opportunities. So what do you think? Would you be interested in me writing something like that? Please come in and tell me what you think, because I'd really genuinely like to know if you think that's a crazy idea or a good one. Kelly says, oh my God, what a hoot. I'd love that. Yay, Kelly. Thank you. Kelly also says, I recommended it to at least 4 friends who read as well. Oh, Kelly, that is the best. Truly, your recommendations to your fellow readers, it just mean the world to us writers. I mean, that's the best way for us to get new readers, right? Because your friends trust you, and they trust you to know what they'll like. And if you say a book is good, wow, wow, just amazing. Lynn says, it sounds very fun, my idea. And Kelly says, amazing, love old characters with cameos. Yeah, right? I don't know if you are aware of this, but I have the 3 standalone novels. Excuse me, A Bridge to Love, Shower of Stars, and Music of the Night. And I loved my hero in A Bridge to Love, which was the first book ever published. I ever got published. I loved my hero, Randall Johnson, so much that I had him appear in Shower of Stars and in Music of the Night. Just little tiny cameos, but I just couldn't let him go. And so if you've read those books, you'll know that I like you, Kelly, I like cameos. So I thought that's what would make this possibility fun, of having the Wager of Hearts guys show up in Caleva. Because frankly, I want to go to Caleva. I want to go to Dragon Fest and see Kira and Retta and watch Gabrielle. Oh, I probably shouldn't say this. Mum's the word. I won't tell you what Gabrielle does, just in case you haven't read the book. But you all know. Those who have read it know what happens at Dragon Fest. So, okay, I think that's all I've got to say. Does anyone have a question that they'd like to post? So Kelly says, I have not even heard of those. I have other 2 trilogies. Kelly, you haven't heard of my standalones? Wow. Go to my website, and if you click on all Nancy's books, I think is the menu item, you'll get a drop down page. The whole page will show you all the series, and then at the bottom are the 3 standalone novels, A Bridge to Love, Shower of Stars, and Music of the Night. And as I said, A Bridge to Love was my first ever published novel. And in fact, next month, August 2023, is my 20th anniversary of being published, because A Bridge to Love came out in 2023. So I'm planning to do a little promotion for all my single titles in August. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because unless you're in Kindle Unlimited, because all of my books are in Kindle Unlimited. So if you're in Kindle Unlimited, you can always read them for free. If you're not, you might want to wait until next month to see what I do to celebrate my 20th publishing anniversary. So Lynn hadn't heard of them either. Wow, I'm doing a bad job of marketing, aren't I? I guess. Well, I mean, to be fair, they were published in 2003, 2004, and I think it was 2008. So they're older books, so you probably haven't seen them, but they are on my website. All my books are on my website. Kelly says, I will, of course. I just didn't know. Yay! I hope so. And she says, I'm collecting your new series as well on my wish list. Good. Nice wish list. And, oh, Kelly's from Canada, so she doesn't use Kindle U. Well, Kelly, hold off until next month, okay? If you're reading on Kindle. Just good. Little heads up there. If you want the single titles for cheaper, because I'm going to run a promotion to celebrate 20 years in the publishing industry. Okay, well, I don't have anything else to say. Anyone else have anything else to say? Sorry, I have to keep typing in letters, just random letters, to get your comments to come up sometimes. I don't know why Facebook does that. It's very strange. Okay. Nope. Questions? Lynn says, I need to look at your website closer. Thanks, Lynn. Go take a look. I think it's a very pretty website. Although it does need some work because, of course, the people who designed it have gone out of business, and I've been having problems finding people to maintain it. And oh my goodness, it's an endless task. Lynn, so happy we met in Milwaukee. Yes, Lynn, that was so much fun at Barbara Vay's luncheon, and yeah, I'm glad we met there too. It was really fun. You gave me those beautiful handmade note cards, all of which I've used because they were so gorgeous. So of course I used them, but they were just lovely. I was so touched. Handmade gifts are always very beautiful. And Kelly says, thanks for the shared news today. You're welcome. Thank you all for sharing it with me. And I will say goodbye. I will see you again next week, next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, right here on Facebook Live. So have a wonderful week, everyone. And thanks for stopping by. Love seeing you guys.